1974's The Year Without a Santa Claus, an incredible film which arguably has some of the most iconic music of the entire lineup. The film surrounds Santa suddenly feeling a loss of purpose and deciding to take a holiday just before the actual holidays, feeling that as children don't believe in him, they don't need him. Right off the bat, this film clearly has intentional Easter eggs attempting to connect it to the other films in this series. For instance, in Santa Claus is Coming to Town, a young Kris Kringle is seen exclaiming his intentions to build a castle, which indeed he clearly does as one fades into place. Well, the castle we see in The Year Without a Santa Claus is clearly the exact same one, except over the course of hundreds of years it's expanded and urbanized in a sense. Mrs. Claus, fearing a world without Santa, sends out 2 elves with the baby reindeer Vixen to hunt down people in the world who can prove to Santa that he is wanted and needed. But they're caught in the middle of a dispute between Heat Miser and Snow Miser, and they end up crashing in the southern town of Southtown. But Quinton, I hear you say, in Santa Claus is Coming to Town, which is clearly illustrated as the start to this universe, Vixen is a fully grown adult, and yet in this film, set later in the timeline, Vixen is illustrated as a child, meaning that for all of these films to exist within the same continuity, Vixen would have had to age backwards. How do you explain that? It's a movie. The Miser brothers are held so highly in the popular culture, and when you watch them in action, it's easy to understand why. They're just written to be very charming and witty in an ultimately timeless way, which was honestly pretty standard with these films. You so easily forget that this movie was made almost 45 years ago. I really think that with Rudolph behind them, they were making these movies with the intention that they would be enjoyed by new audiences for generations to come. The Year Without a Santa Claus was really the final piece in the puzzle to how Rankin Bass wanted to represent its world. Following its release, the reindeers and elves of the North Pole would be consistently illustrated in every single film as they had been here. And this would really be where their emphasis on maintaining continuity would come into play.